What's up, everybody? Sponge or Wash Mitt? Which one is more likely to scratch your paint, and why the answer might surprise you? So full disclosure, there's not a lot of surprises there, but we did find all these mitts in a recent auto parts store shopping spree, and there's actually more that we hear about people using to clean their car, including something like a basic all-purpose microfiber, and then like a high pile microfiber mitt or pad. Now, all of these items can technically take soap from your bucket, put it on your car, solubilize the soil, and put it back into the bucket. But the way they do that can make it easier or harder to damage your car. So we want to talk about why there's such a difference and what we recommend you using when washing your car. So this is far from the total range of items you could use to wash your car, but it's maybe the most common. So we're not talking about any kind of wash brushes. We're not talking about natural sea sponges, which I think my dad had when I was growing up washing the car. It actually looked like the animal from the bottom of the ocean. So each one of these items offers an improvement of just a cotton rag or something throwing in your wash bucket to wash your car, but they each do have some things you want to watch out for. So just a basic all-purpose microfiber has a little bit of pile there, which would be better than like a cotton rag per se, but when your hand is under there, you're going to get hot pressure points. So rather than an even surface and kind of displacing that pressure, you're going to see effectively the points of your hand are going to put more pressure on your clear coat, with potential dirt being trapped there, again, increasing the likelihood of scratching. What the sponge does, again, this is the synthetic sponge compared to the natural sea sponge at the bottom of the ocean. What this does is it makes a nice even pressure surface to wash your vehicle, which again is an improvement over your hand. However, there's very little surface area for dirt to go. So if your car is very, very clean, this probably isn't going to cause any issues. However, when you're washing a car with normal, daily driver wear and tear, there's going to be grit and things like that on your car that these sponges just really don't have anywhere to go. This is kind of open cell, so there are little pores in there, but there's no depth. So that dirt essentially is sitting right on the surface of the sponge, again, increasing the likelihood of scratching. This microfiber wrapped sponge is basically a hybrid. It's basically doing this. It's a hybrid. So is this a little better, being less likely to damage your surface? Yep, but still, there's very little depth of that microfiber pile to protect your car if you have a dirty surface or you have dirt trapped there. It can't hide anywhere. The Chenille mitt, this is, full disclosure, if you've seen our videos, you've seen we use these probably more than any other item to wash your car. It's a good blend of being economical, meaning it's not too expensive for us to use. We go through tons of these. And it has lots of surface area for dirt to hide. So it's got a good mix of evening out pressure from your hand when you're washing and places for dirt to hide. On this end of the spectrum, we have basically a super deep microfiber mitt and a super deep microfiber kind of sponge or pad. And what this does is maybe the best of being able to even out pressure and hide dirt and being able to kind of release that dirt maybe a little bit better than the fuzzy microfiber. But that being said, it is still very possible to damage your surface with the most high-end product, and it is still possible to not damage your surface with the low-end product. It's really how you want to protect your vehicle and when it makes sense for you. Like I said, we usually use these Chenille mitts more than anything else. Again, I don't know if anybody gets this reference. Some of the guys shooting here didn't, but just think about these as the Princess and the Pea fairy tale, where the pea underneath the mattress is the dirt on your car or in the wash bucket coming back out, and the princess is your clear coat. You want as much kind of evening out and hiding of that dirt as possible to, protect your princess or your clear coat. So again, to look at the surface of Skylar's car, it's pretty dirty right now. So Could I wash this car with a synthetic sponge? Absolutely. However, in this state, with how dirty it is, I would want to pressure wash, foam cannon this at least beforehand, and make sure that most of this dirt and grit is off. Otherwise, I'm feeling very bad about potentially scratching that surface. So the other difference we have to talk about is how much soap and suds and water, basically the lubricant to clean your car, can be held by these products. So obviously microfiber is fairly limited with how much it can hold. But again, like we saw, there is a little bit of a pile there. Again, the risk here, especially now that it's wet, you can really see kind of pressure points of where your hand's gonna go. So you want to try to avoid that if this is what you're using. Again, we don't recommend that, but it is possible. Make sure you're very low pressure and fold it over as many times as you can. That makes sense. Keep exposing a clean side. It's like we said, there's going to be a lot of grit that is fairly close to the surface of the microfiber and your clear coat. I will say, these sponges hold an amazing amount of car wash. Ton. So in that aspect, they're good at transferring a lot of soap and suds and water to your surface. However, like we said, this thing is so stiff that, I mean, you can, Brett, can you show under that? It pressure points pretty hard. Like I have to push on there fairly hard to get the thing to conform. So when you think about dirt sitting on the surface of that sponge in between your car's clear coat and your sponge, that thing is just rolling dirt across the surface. So that's high likelihood of scratching. Again, luckily this already got cleaned once and pressure washed, so there's not a lot there. But there's even though it can hold all that water, the surface, it's just right there. There's nowhere for the dirt to go. All right, the hybrid. Again, tons of carrying capacity. However, same issue with pressure. Get this gap here. You need to put a lot of pressure down to get that to conform around things. So it's gonna do the same thing it's gonna fight back when there's dirt there. There is a little bit more kind of pile here for it to hide. So it feels a little safer to go across this, but not a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this does have this very open cell mesh here. They would be good for kind of dried on bugs if you had them on your lenses or things like that. Again, I'd be worried about rubbing that too hard on your paint, but if the bug is kind of softened up, that would kind of pull that in fairly well. So that's an upgrade. And this just feels natural because we use these so much. Great combination of still a pretty good kind of capacity of carrying the suds and the soapy water over your car. But because of these deep pile places for things to hide, it contours very easily. So if there's any dirt there, it's very easy for it to kind of hide around these mitts in the Chenille and not just be rubbing right against the clear coat. So again, it does a great job of carrying that, being nice and gentle to the surface, and putting a lot of suds down to make sure there's lots of lubrication, plenty lubrication to keep any dirt from getting a little bit too friendly with your clear coat. Microfiber wash pad. Again, lots of capacity to carry your suds to your car. Again, much more kind of supple than the original sponges, so it'll get contours very nicely. Again, when you look at the difference between the microfiber size on this versus the Chenille, you can see the surface area difference. So much more on this. And what that does is just increases places where the dirt can kind of hide and go away, again, away from your car's surface. So this is probably this is the high end of the tools we're using in this video. Again, tons of soap, tons of suds, hiding in here. Again, you're not going to run out of that lubrication, and plenty of places for the dirt to get up there and hide so it's not rubbing against your clear coat. So again, as you can see, the thing to remember here is any of these tools used the proper way. If you go back to some of our original videos, we were talking about the proper way to wash your car, using the 2 buckets, using the grit guards to keep that dirt away. You can use lots of different tools and get a safe, clean, effective car wash done to your car. However, there are things that can make things easier. So the thing to think about with this video in general is if you can keep that dirt away from your surface and limit the pressure that is exposed to that dirt and your clear coat, that's going to be the safest way to clean your car. And if you're one of these power users who washes your car every week, multiple times a week, things like that, that wear and tear is going to show up a lot faster. So we recommend using the higher end tools that we talked about. Again, keeping those things deep away from your clear coat. So the Chenille mitts, the wash pads with a deep pile microfiber, those are going to be the safest for your car in the long run. If you guys have other tools that you use and you'd like us to evaluate or compare a little bit, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on the next one.